Welcome to the twisted tale behind one of cinema's most brilliant puzzles. Christopher Nolan's Memento didn't just mess with audiences' minds, it nearly broke Hollywood's brain in the process. These aren't your typical behind-the-scenes stories. These are the chaotic, shocking, and downright bizarre truths about a film that shouldn't have existed, starring actors who improvised their way through amnesia, and a production so backwards it made everyone forget how movies are supposed to work. And stick around until the very end, because I've saved the most mind-bending fact for last. Trust me, you won't see this one coming. If these facts blew your mind about Memento, don't let this moment slip away. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never forget my next brain rewiring video. Let's dive into the madness. Fact number 1. Love literally saved the movie. In one of Hollywood's most romantic rescue stories, Christopher Nolan's girlfriend, Emma Thomas, became the unlikely hero who saved Memento from oblivion. When no distributor would touch the film, Thomas took matters into her own hands and approached her associate, Aaron Ryder, at Newmarket Films with the script. Ryder was won over instantly, recognizing the genius that every other executive had missed. Talk about the ultimate relationship test. Imagine having to convince your partner that your backwards memory movie is worth believing in. Thomas didn't just save the film. She proved that sometimes the most important Hollywood connections aren't about who you know in boardrooms, but who believes in your vision. She's now Nolan's wife and longtime producer, making this both a love story and a business partnership.
There's something about the drugs stashed in the car that doesn't ring true for me. Because the police claim the guy was an addict needing money to score, which I think is bullshit, because he's not gonna go breaking into places while he's still got a stash that big.
Fact number 2. 6 months in distribution hell. You've just created what will become one of the most acclaimed psychological thrillers of all time, and every single studio in Hollywood thinks you're insane. That's exactly what happened to Christopher Nolan and Memento. For 6 agonizing months, the film was trapped in distribution purgatory. Company after company rejected the backwards memory thriller, leaving Nolan desperately wondering, what the hell are we gonna do? For half a year, studio executives couldn't wrap their heads around a film that told its story in reverse, proving that even future Oscar nominees can face brutal rejection sprees. The irony? The very thing that made studios nervous, its unconventional structure, would become its greatest strength, launching Nolan's career.
What happened?
What does it look like? You beat the shit out of me.
Why? Because of you? Because I did what you told me to do. Go to him reason with the
Calm
tell
down.
about Teddy. Great fucking idea.
Calm down.
Fact number 3. Charlie Sheen's memory loss. Before Guy Pearce became Leonard Shelby, Christopher Nolan had his sights set on some major Hollywood stars for the role, and the casting possibilities are absolutely wild to imagine. Brad Pitt, Charlie Sheen, and Thomas Jane were all seriously considered for the amnesia-stricken protagonist before Nolan settled on the relatively unknown Australian actor Guy Pearce. The decision came down to Pearce being more effective, not to mention affordable, than the bigger names. Just imagine Charlie Sheen trying to remember things backwards, or Brad Pitt covered in tattoos, frantically scribbling notes to himself. Aaron Eckhart, who would later appear in Nolan's The Dark Knight, was also in contention. These casting alternatives remind us that some of cinema's most iconic performances almost went to completely different actors.
Who the fuck is that?
You don't know him?
No, should I? Wait a minute. Is that John G?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You don't know? You didn't write it down?
Well, I might have fallen asleep before I did.
For Christ's sakes.
Fact number 4. Born on a road trip. The entire concept for one of cinema's most complex films was born during the most mundane of activities, a 2,000-mile road trip from Chicago to Los Angeles in 1996. 26-year-old Christopher Nolan and his 20-year-old brother Jonathan were essentially playing creative games to pass time instead of the license plate game during their cross-country drive. Jonathan casually mentioned his idea about a man with anterograde amnesia, and Christopher became obsessed. Imagine if they'd gotten bored and just listened to music instead. We might never have gotten this masterpiece. The brothers' casual conversation during highway hypnosis would eventually spawn a film that redefined narrative structure, launched Christopher Nolan's career, and proved that the best ideas often come from the most unexpected places.
Why? What's wrong with this one?
Nothing. You want to trade? So what do you do now?
I'm gonna find out what the fuck that was all about.
Fact number 5. Television schedule, cinema masterpiece. Here's something that will blow your mind. Despite having one of the most intricate script structures ever conceived, Memento was shot in just 25 days, essentially a television production schedule. Even more incredibly, All of Carrie-Anne Moss's scenes were completed in only 8 days, meaning she filmed her entire performance in barely over a week. This makes Memento one of the most complex films ever made on what was essentially a TV movie timeline. While other directors take months to craft simple linear narratives, Nolan managed to weave together a backwards thriller that would require multiple viewings to fully understand, all while racing against an impossibly tight schedule. The breakneck pace actually worked in the film's favor, creating intense, focused energy.
Wait for me to fall asleep, you go into the bathroom and you slam the door.
Slam it.
Yeah, loud enough to wake me up.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah, first I just need you to put these things around the room.
Fact number 6. Zero script. Pure improvisation. Prepare for your mind to be blown. Stephen Tobolowsky had absolutely zero scripted dialogue for his character, Sammy Jenkins. Every single word he speaks in those devastating flashback sequences was completely improvised, including the memorable and heartbreaking line, "Test this, you fucking quack," directed at the doctors testing his condition. Tobolowsky was essentially asked to perform medical trauma with no script, creating one of cinema's most authentic portrayals of neurological disability through pure spontaneous acting. The black and white sequences showing Sammy's struggle with his condition become even more powerful when you realize they're not scripted moments, but genuine creative responses to the situation. This approach allowed Tobolowsky to tap into his own experience with memory loss, creating dialogue that feels raw and emotionally devastating.
Sammy, it's time for my shot.
She knew beyond a doubt that he loved her.
Fact number 7. Real amnesia, real performance. In one of the most eerily prophetic casting decisions in film history, Stephen Tobolowsky brought actual experience with anterograde amnesia to his role. Following a medical procedure, Tobolowsky suffered temporary memory loss and found himself waking up in rooms of his house with absolutely no memory of how he'd gotten there. This real-life experience with the exact condition his character suffered from gave him an authenticity that no amount of method acting could achieve. Tobolowsky has admitted that his personal struggle with memory loss gave him insights into the confusion and terror of amnesia that informed every moment of his performance. The fact that an actor dealing with memory issues was cast to play a memory loss patient feels like the universe's twisted sense of humor, creating a meta-reality.
I did something wrong.
You did something wrong. Now we're gonna deal with it. We'll figure out. We're gonna try a little harder.
Fact number 8. Teddy's terrifying surprise. One of Memento's most startling moments came from pure actor improvisation that turned a simple dialogue scene into genuine psychological terror. It was Joe Pantoliano's brilliant idea that his character Teddy should be sitting in Leonard's car completely unannounced, literally scaring him half to death when Leonard discovers him. This wasn't in the script. Pantoliano suggested the ambush approach during filming, and Nolan loved how it amplified the paranoia and disorientation that defines Leonard's experience. The scene works perfectly because Pantoliano understood that Teddy isn't just delivering information. He's a predator who enjoys psychological manipulation. What could have been a standard exposition moment became a masterclass in creating tension through unexpected character positioning. The improvised nature proves that sometimes the best scares come from actors understanding their characters' twisted motivations.
How did he know me?
The discount end. He dealt out of there. The guy at the front desk let him know if anybody came snooping around. He called you in the minute he saw you taking a picture of the dump. No! You get half!
He knew about Sammy. Why would I tell him about fucking Sammy?
You tell everybody about Sammy.
Fact number 9. Leonard's improvised exposition. Guy Pearce's most crucial scenes in Memento, the grayscale sequences where Leonard narrates Sammy Jenkins' story to an unseen listener, were largely improvised, meaning some of the film's most important exposition was created spontaneously during filming. Nolan encouraged Pierce to find his own way through these monologues, trusting the actor's instincts to deliver the complex backstory naturally, rather than forcing scripted dialogue. This improvised approach allowed Pierce to discover Leonard's voice organically, creating the distinctive rhythm and cadence that makes these sequences so hypnotic. The fact that Leonard's explanation of anterograde amnesia, which serves as the film's educational foundation, came from actor improvisation rather than medical research, makes these scenes feel more like genuine human struggle than clinical exposition.
Conditioning didn't work for Sammy, so he became helpless. But it works for me. I like the way Sammy couldn't. Habit and routine make my life possible. Conditioning. Acting on instinct.
Fact number 10. Comedy expert tracks chaos. In one of Hollywood's most delicious ironies, the impossible job of maintaining continuity for cinema's most structurally complex film was handed to Steve Gerke, a script supervisor whose previous experience came from Farrelly Brothers' slapstick comedies like There's Something About Mary and Me, Myself, and Irene. Even Christopher Nolan found this hilarious, later admitting it was strange, but fantastic and amazing, that a guy who tracked pratfalls and gross-out gags was suddenly responsible for keeping track of backwards storytelling and fractured timelines. The man who once made sure Cameron Diaz's hair gel looked consistent became the guardian of cinema's most intricate narrative puzzle.
Then she slips him the answers when she serves him his drinks.
Why should I care?
Because when she gets jammed up, she's going to use you to protect herself.
From who?
Guys are going to want to know what happened to her boyfriend.
Fact number 11. The pizza delivery revolution. Christopher Nolan structured Memento backwards as a direct assault on what he called the pizza delivery scenario. In the pre-DVR era, he was frustrated by television's dumbing down of film narratives to accommodate viewers who might leave and miss story chunks but still follow along. He deliberately created a film where missing 3 minutes meant losing everything, forcing complete attention rather than treating cinema as background entertainment. This backward structure became Nolan's weapon against attention deficit culture, proving audiences craved movies that challenged rather than coddled them. The film demanded active engagement over passive consumption.
Then why haven't the police found him for you?
They're not looking for him.
Why not?
They don't think he exists. See, I told them what I remembered. I was asleep.
Fact number 12. The heart wasn't written. All of Memento's most emotionally devastating black and white dialogue scenes were completely improvised. The moments that break your heart, watching Sammy Jankis struggle with his condition, none were scripted. The raw emotional power came from actors channeling genuine human responses to impossible situations rather than delivering pre-written dialogue. This improvised approach created organic authenticity no scripting could achieve. When you watch these sequences, you're seeing actors discovering words real people might use, facing medical trauma. The film's most powerful moments exist because Nolan trusted actors to find truth in spontaneity rather than forcing artificial precision.
Barbie. Here to contribute.
No thanks.
It's for a lot of money.
Fact number 13. Escher's architectural nightmare. Christopher Nolan specifically selected the motel because it was deliberately confusing and disorienting to navigate. As he described it, if M.C. Escher was going to design a motel, this would be it. He wanted a location that would mess with viewers' heads as much as it confused characters, creating physical space mirroring Leonard's mental state. The motel's bizarre layout with maze-like corridors and nonsensical room arrangements becomes another character, a concrete manifestation of confusion defining Leonard's existence. Every time Leonard navigates these spaces, audiences feel his spatial confusion, making the location choice environmental storytelling mastery.
Hey, Jimmy. I'm sorry, I thought you were somebody else. Sorry.
That's okay.
Fact number 14. Literary DNA, not cinema. Christopher Nolan's primary inspiration wasn't another movie. It was Graham Swift's 1983 novel Waterland, about a history teacher's personal turmoil in Greenwich, England. This literary foundation explains why Memento feels fundamentally different from other nonlinear films. While other directors experimented with fractured timelines for visual effect, Nolan drew from deep literary tradition of unreliable narrators and fragmented storytelling defining modern fiction. The novel's exploration of how personal history shapes identity provided philosophical framework for Leonard's struggle with his fractured past. This literary DNA makes Memento feel substantial rather than merely clever.
I knew we couldn't trust that fuck!
Take it off. Your pants, too.
Why?
I don't want to get blood on them.
Whoa, wait. Did he tell you what I was bringing?
Take your fucking pants off!
I've got 200 grand stashed in the car. Just take it.
What?
Just take it.
Fact number 15. Accidentally educational. Despite being pure entertainment, Memento impressed actual neuroscientists with its scientific accuracy. The National Institute of Mental Health called it close to perfect exploration of memory neurobiology, while renowned neuroscientist Christoph Koch deemed it the most accurate portrayal of different memory systems in popular media. This wasn't intentional. Nolan wasn't making an educational film about amnesia, but his commitment to authentic storytelling accidentally created one of the most scientifically sound depictions of memory disorders on screen. Medical professionals began using clips to explain memory disorders to patients and students, turning psychological thriller into unofficial educational tool. Fact number 16. The puzzle film revolution. Memento's success completely transformed how viewers think about nonlinear storytelling, launching the puzzle film era. Christopher Nolan argued traditional film narrative had been held back by television and proved audiences hungered for movies, demanding complete attention rather than passive consumption. The film's success opened floodgates for complex, challenging narratives requiring active viewing and multiple screenings. Directors suddenly had permission to create films, refusing to spoon-feed audiences, leading to an intelligent blockbuster renaissance, trusting viewers' intelligence. Memento proved complexity could be commercially successful, paving the way for Inception, Primer, and countless others prioritizing narrative sophistication. Fact number 17. DVD Genius Test. The 2002 limited edition Memento DVD included one of home video history's most ingenious hidden features, the ability to watch the film chronologically, but only after proving understanding by solving interactive memory-based puzzles. This wasn't just a bonus feature. It was a genius test, making fans prove comprehension before revealing the normal version. The DVD interrogated viewers about complex structure, ensuring only those grasping backwards narrative could access the chronological cut. This created an exclusive club of Memento masters who earned the right to see traditional storytelling, transforming simple home video into interactive experience, extending puzzle-solving elements beyond theater.
That's Sammy, not me. I told you about Sammy.
Like you tell yourself over and over again, conditioning yourself to remember, learning through repetition.
Sammy let his wife kill herself. Sammy ended up in an institution.
Sammy was a con man, a faker.
Fact number 18. The original screenplay paradox. Memento created unprecedented Oscar history by making an adaptation technically considered original. The film was eligible for Best Original Screenplay because Jonathan Nolan's source story, Memento Mori, wasn't published in Esquire until 2001, months after the film's fall 2000 international release. This created temporal paradox, where the movie existed before its source material was publicly available, making adaptation eligible for original category. The Academy Awards had never encountered this situation where film preceded literary source into public consciousness. While losing to Gosford Park, its nomination represented unique awards history, moment where normal source adaptation relationship was completely reversed.
You're not even gonna know that it happened.
My wife deserves vengeance. Doesn't make any difference whether I know about it. Just because there are things I don't remember doesn't make my actions meaningless. The world doesn't just disappear when you close your eyes, does it?
Fact number 19. Source material time travel. In another mind-bending twist, Jonathan Nolan's original short story, Memento Mori, was published in Esquire months after the film's international release, meaning the movie came out before its source material was publicly available. This created a surreal situation where audiences experienced adaptation before reading the original story, reversing normal creative process. When Memento Mori finally appeared, it felt less like film's inspiration and more like companion piece, creating real-world confusion about which version came first.
You called me. You said you needed my help. You know, I've had more rewarding friendships than this one. Although I do get to keep telling the same jokes.
Fact number 20. Career launched by continuity mastery. Steve Gerk's incredible performance as script supervisor on Memento launched a career spanning Christopher Nolan's entire filmography. Gerk was so impressive tracking the film's impossible backwards timeline that he became Nolan's go-to continuity expert for almost every subsequent film, building his reputation by mastering cinema's most complex puzzles. Gerk's career trajectory shows how mastering one seemingly impossible task opens Hollywood doors, turning the Memento challenge into a calling card, demonstrating ability to handle any narrative complexity.
know what that's gonna sound like when I knock on it. I know what that's gonna feel like when I pick it up. See? Certainties. It's the kind of memory you take for granted. You know, I can remember so much.
Bonus fact, Guy Pearce actually used the classical memory palace method, a technique dating back to ancient Greece, to help remember the film's complex backward structure during filming. Ironically, while playing a character who can't form new memories, Pearce had to become a memory technique master to track where Leonard was in his backwards journey through each scene. He created mental maps of Leonard's emotional and informational state at different reverse chronology points, building sophisticated memory systems his amnesia-stricken character could never access. This created a surreal situation where the actor portraying memory loss became exceptionally skilled at memory retention, using techniques opposite his character's condition. And there you have it, 21 facts that prove Memento wasn't just a movie. It was a revolution wrapped in a riddle, shot in reverse, and delivered by people who had no idea they were changing cinema forever. Christopher Nolan didn't just make a film about memory. He created a memory that would haunt Hollywood and audiences for decades to come. No way that actually happened. Except it all did, making Memento one of the most accidentally revolutionary films ever made by a director who just wanted to tell a story about memory the way memory actually works.